Take the yellow jersey from Eric Mackler. And for the moment, the real stars keep their back seat, while Hampsten recalls the crash.
It happened real fast, but boy, a lot of people went down. When I got up, I was pretty confused just from tumbling around at 30 miles an hour, and I couldn't find my bike, and I was kind of in a panic to get going again. But Davis Finney was right there, so he gave me his bike and shoved me on the way, and then Jeff Bradley brought me halfway up the pack, and Jeff Pierce brought me all the way to the front. Once I got there, Boyer kind of nursed me all the way in.
While Hampsten and his 7-Eleven teammates were working to survive crashes, the Carrera boys were loose and happy to have one of their own, Eric Mackler, with the yellow jersey. But what does their star, Stephen Roach, think about having to lead this early in the tour?
For me, it will by far, but then I'm not the boss.
But you'd unload it if you could?
Oh, definitely. It's not so much to unload it, but it's because a lot of other teams are just sitting in the wheels doing nothing, and they will ride to the mountains like this in an armchair, and then in the mountains they will not even say thank you.
Oh, yeah?
The reward at the end of a long day of riding takes place here on the massage table with a soothing rub. A job performed only by men up until last year. 23-year-old April Wilburn is now one of 3 women trainers, or what is called a soigneur, for a professional cycling team. Part of her daily routine is to massage the aching bodies of the riders. And as you might well imagine, the question of a female trainer working with male athletes raises some eyebrows. But this is 1987, and the tour has changed.
A body's just a body. It's not like you're lusting over these guys. You know, like my friends, they say, God, you're working around all these guys all the time. How can you handle it? But that's when you know you're an amateur and when you're a professional. You know, when you work professionally, it doesn't really faze you too much.
Here is the original female soigneur, American Shelley Versus. She was the only woman on the tour last year when she worked for 7-Eleven. Now she is the first woman working with a European team. Shelley knows well the difficulties of being the first woman in a man's sport in Europe.
I know. Well, with the 7-Eleven boys, they were all American. It was totally natural for me to work with them. I was like their sister. It was no big deal. Title IX, equal rights. A woman massaging a guy was no problem. But when I came to Toshiba, all these boys are foreign, except for Greg and Steve Bauer. They didn't speak English. All of a sudden, this chick comes along, American, to massage them. And they weren't sure whether to leave their underwear on, take it off, what was their wives going to say. It was a problem with the mechanics of my team because usually the soigneur room's with a mechanic. But the mechanic's wives didn't want me to room with them, so I have a single room all the time. That was kind of difficult, you know.
A day in the life of a soigneur begins at dawn, hours before the riders wake up. Preparing the food and drink for the riders takes some doing. Each day, a team consumes 20 gallons of drinks, 50 sandwiches, 20 packs of dried fruits, and 60 pounds of fresh fruit, all the while making sure each rider has his own special menu for his day on wheels. Then it's time to wake up the team, far better than any alarm clock I've ever seen. Because of the physical exertion involved, racing teams only once considered men capable of doing this job. First, the cooler goes in the trunk. And then a truckload of luggage. Remember, it's 9 riders on a team in a different hotel every night for 26 nights. And all this has to be done even before they get to the race start, where more work awaits, the little last-minute race preparations and the like.
That tape too big?
There are other women in unlikely places on the Tour de France, and the number, as well as the acceptance of women, is growing each year. The riders seem to like it, and the race organizers are beginning to embrace the change. Only 4 years ago, women had to hide their hair under baseball caps to disguise themselves while riding in the caravan.
Not only there were no women, but they were forbidden. I mean, when a woman was seen in a car, it was a very strong misdemeanor. I mean, it was seen as a big breach of the rules. But now women are very important. As you see that we have a Masseuse with the 7-Eleven team, and we'll see more and more of them. I think they are good sport, they are good fun, and they are good friends, and that's right.
The barriers for women are disappearing in the Tour de France, and this is only the beginning of a new era in a race set aside by its tradition.